From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. Very excited today to be joined by the Mayor of Chicopee, John Vieau. Welcome to the show. Good to see you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Patrick. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about Chicopee, my favorite subject.
I'm hoping that is the case. I know I've grown up here. I was born in the 60s. Chicopee has, I've shopped in Chicopee. I've enjoyed your restaurants, but I don't know a lot about the history of the city, which is, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Being mayor, you're a longtime Chicopee resident. Talk to me about the history of the city of Chicopee. Going back in time.
Yeah, sure. So the city of Chicopee was an industry-driven community based on these large factories, and I'll use Cabottville as one. The Sickles is the Cabottville building that actually made TV tubes. And then you had the Uniroyal Tire Company. Everyone worked there. And then during my early years, everyone worked at Spalding's, which now has become Callaway. So we do make the best golf balls in the world right here in Chicopee.
And I have lost a lot of those Callaway golf balls on my golf rounds.
That's called job security for those who work there. So keep using them, all right?
I love it.
But really the focus now is to redevelop those spaces, and there's definitely a shortage of housing. So we have a proposal out to redevelop Uniroyal. We have taken that property by tax title years ago. It's actually been close to 20 now. And with the cleanup that's been going on, we expect that in the near future, we're going to have some residential units in that space. So it's exciting.
It's interesting when you think about the city of Chicopee. It is the second largest community in Western Mass, in the four counties of Western Mass, right? Behind Springfield, which is the dominant population center. How important is it for you, from a marketing perspective, to entice people and businesses to locate to the city of Chicopee?
Well, one of the things about the city of Chicopee is it's affordable. We were just recognized by a national publication that as the most affordable in Western Mass, especially for those on Social Security, which I think is something that we're all very proud of, whether it be the financial team and making sure that we continue to provide services at rates that we can afford and continue progress too. That's really a key component in that balance of retaining talent of employees and paying them pay parity with Western Mass, and also being able to provide, again, great services that everyone expects every single day. So being recognized as affordable is something very special, and the goal is to continue that.
And it's a crucial recognition, because so many people need affordability, no matter where you are in life. I think about the our age bracket. Your retirement's on the horizon. You're starting to think about that, downsizing, but you don't want to leave, because you've got roots. So remaining affordable as we age is crucial, because you also want to have the resources, the doctors, the grocery stores, the cleaners, whatever it might be, nearby. So staying in the community that is important as people age. Conversely, the younger groups coming up, I hear from my kids who are in their late 20s, I'm never going to afford a house,
Right.
And, so for Chicopee to be recognized as an affordable community is important for all of us.
Well, a municipal utility too, Chicopee Electric Light has really worked hard to keep electric rates at bay. And I think it's one of the key reasons that we're affordable is because of that. And rolling out Crossroads Fiber too. We have some of the best internet in Western Mass, if not the Commonwealth, right here in Chicopee. And those customers are receiving great service at a great price. And you talk to others, people leave and they come back, and you'll say they moved to a different community and found out that the grass isn't greener. We do have great rates for electricity. We're providing high-speed internet. We have great municipal services. Our roads are plowed. Our trash is picked up. No trash fee. There's wonderful benefits of living in Chicopee, and the goal is to continue to keep it affordable, but to give those great services that everyone expects every day.
So is the municipal utility a function of the city government, or is it a separate entity? How does that work?
It is. It's actually it's a quasi-public entity that actually they're on our payroll, those employees. And the goal is to keep our grid is in-house, and it's maintained by Chicopee Electric Light. And they do a tremendous job, and they buy electricity. We do actually produce some but most of it is purchased, and you purchase it at the right price for long term, and those benefits are passed right on to every resident that lives in Chicopee.
And I think if memory serves me right, there's only a handful at most of communities in Western Mass that have their own municipal utility. And it's funny, you think about it, those are the communities that are desired living spaces, because I mean, you look at some of we won't mention names, but some of the larger gas and electric providers, and they're starting to toss people out of their homes.
They really are. I was talking to someone recently about their bills, and when you talk about utilities and what you're paying, and they lived in a neighboring community, not to mention,
right,
but saying that for what they're paying, they are considering moving and actually looking at Chicopee. So definitely some good reasons to live in Chicopee.
I love it. There's a lot going on in the city. We're coming up on our first commercial break. I want to touch on a few of the positive things that you're facing: redevelopment, making quality of life better. So when we come back after this first break, we'll get into that. Stay with us. We're here with the Chicopee Mayor.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry, and I am very excited today to be joined across the desk by the wonderful mayor of the city of Chicopee, John Vieau. Mayor Vieau, thank you so very much for joining me. Appreciate you giving me some of your time today to educate me about your wonderful city. Like every community here in Western Mass, we've gone through a lot of changes over the last 100 years or so. You talked about it earlier. We were all mill towns. Mills are long gone, but you need to repurpose some of those properties, which Chicopee has done a great job repurposing some of those old mills into housing. There's one right down the street here from 22 News. There's more of those, but it's a quality of life. You talked about affordability. Adding housing units creates affordability, but you need to also make the community better. So what other things are you and your local legislators doing in the city of Chicopee to make the quality of living in Chicopee nicer?
Well, I think that's a great question, Patrick, and I'll share that it's really about public safety, in my opinion, that the quality of life, if you don't feel safe when you put your head down on your pillow, you're not going to want to live in that community. Right. So we're really focused on keeping this community safe. I think it's paramount to our success, and it's been wonderful to see the advancement under the two chiefs. One just retired,
right?
So we just lost our police chief, but the things that he's implemented are really special. We have a real-time information center now, working with AI and technology and cameras, really focused on if you're a bad guy committing a crime, the message on the street is don't come to Chicopee.
So talk to me a little bit about the real time. I mean, obviously I understand what the phrase means, but how does that work on a day-to-day basis? How does your local police force work with that?
So we have crime analysis and entities that are working 24/7 in the actual crime, I'll call it the information center. We don't call it a crime center in Chicopee, but what they're doing is working on trends of things that are happening in the community, whether it be overdoses, it could be car theft, it could be break-ins, those types of things. And those trends are looked at intimately to make sure that we look at preventing them or catching the bad guys. And I think they're doing a tremendous job. So camera focus, we have plate readers. If you come into Chicopee and you've stolen a car, you will get an APB goes out and you will get pulled over.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible, the technology. Finding someone who's lost. We've been able to use our camera system to find someone who actually was not from Chicopee, didn't speak English, and we're able to locate them in real time by using the intricate parts of AI and the camera system that we have throughout the entire city. So wonderful technology, and really about focusing on working intimately with the PD in real time. When something's happening, you have access to them through our camera systems and other
basic steps to keep the citizens safer and better protected, each and every day. Recently, you converted the old library in the city into a unique space. Tell me about it.
So yes, that space had been sitting dormant for over 20 years. It was actually the former Central Library. It's on the campus of City Hall, and it actually needed way more than the RFPs had put out. You come in and see the space. It had asbestos and it had an infrastructure that was failing. So we were very fortunate to use the last of our ARPA money to renovate the space, put in new infrastructure, and turn it into this amazing community space. Right now, it's actively being used as I was going to call it an incubator, but they don't like that for the entrepreneurs out there in the world. There's active small business trainings that are going on.
Oh, good.
We're talking about other means of bringing the community together. When you move your library up Front Street, you leave this void downtown.
Right.
And I think we're reestablishing that. This renaissance is happening in the downtown space, and good things are happening, and trying to find reasons to bring you back down into Chicopee Center.
I like that you've done that.
We call it the hub.
Nice. I like that because, when the library vacates, there's a lot of foot traffic going to the library, but it's a different type of foot traffic that will start utilizing the hub. Hopefully they start to, the people that are utilizing the hub will do some local shopping, local dining. So it builds up the entire community around this hub area. Again, coming back to quality of life.
I will share that right now we are actually purchasing the Westfield Bank's Mortgage Center on Exchange Street.
Okay.
And that space will become the central office for our school administration, and moving them on the bus route, getting more people downtown who are going to need goods and services. We'll be eating lunch and hopefully visiting the hub and buying groceries and doing all the wonderful shopping in the boutiques and the stores, and really creating that small town presence that we are expecting to see with this renaissance that's happening. So good things are in the works downtown.
It's interesting. A lot of our local communities are trying to do the same thing, and I'm excited to see what happens. The way Chicopee does this, because we're older guys. You think back of when we were kids. You walk your main streets, your downtown areas, all those retail shops. Unfortunately, a lot of retail has shifted online, so you have to have creative ideas to maintain those storefronts and get people back out. So this hub idea and moving the school department down is just a fantastic idea.
Yeah, thank you. I just think that it's more than just it's a comprehensive approach. So we actually have been recognized for our comprehensive plan. We've actually never really had one. So it's called Envision 2040, and it's where we want to be in 20 years. And we're implementing that plan as we speak. The actual plan itself has won an award for New England as being one of the better plans out there. And it was really based on input from the public, what they wanted to see Chicopee and where we want to be in 20 years. And
kind of like a master plan
a master plan. So we're really focused on trying to implement that plan. And it's been great so far because a lot of these wonderful things are happening.
So how do you get the community involved, especially a community the size of Chicopee, give or take 55,000 people? How do you get people involved? And so they're invested in the 20-year, 40-year plan.
So I'll just share, there are commission spaces for volunteers right now that are open. We're looking for people to get engaged and get involved. I encourage anyone to reach out to my office if you want to volunteer in some way, shape, or form. The city of Chicopee is very interested in your input. We want to know. We are a very social community. We have these wonderful events that we do every year, and they're growing, and they've gotten bigger and bigger. One of them is our National Night Out Against Crime event.
Okay.
That night is something very special. We've had thousands of people come to the park, and it's more about taking back your streets in other communities, but it's building positive relationships here with elected officials, police and fire, and the community coming together as a whole. We're ranked nationally number 12 in the country.
Wow.
Which is not Massachusetts, in the country, which is something really special. And it's because of this wonderful team. Chicopee is about coming together for these community events, and we're encouraging to grow them. And we're excited about celebrating America's birthday.
And those personal connections, whether it's among neighbors, among other citizens, or whether it's with the police, the fire, ambulance, elected officials, it creates a tighter bond. And my personal feeling is crime is reduced because of that, because you know people. You're not going to hurt your neighbor.
Three things come to mind immediately. We have community policing, and actually in 2 locations, so there's 2 of them. And the Chicopee Junior Police Academy. It's a summer program where we have students who are engaged in what it feels like to be a police officer. They get to go through this summer camp, boot camp, and they build this incredible bond through that process. And it's gotten to be close to 40 kids in the last class that we had last summer. But I think the real gem is the community policing teams that we put together. They're strategically placed in Chicopee Center and Willimantic, and they've been doing a tremendous job because they build that public trust and the relationships that communities really need. You need to believe in your PD, and
Right.
Chicopee, everyone loves our fire department, but they love our PD too.
And it all comes back to creating a good quality of life for the residents. Absolutely. We are up on our second commercial break. Stay with us. We have plenty more to come. We'll be back in a moment.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of In Focus. Joining me across the desk today is the mayor of Chicopee, John View. Mayor View, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you giving me some of your time. We've covered a lot of ground on the city of Chicopee. We talked a lot about the good things that are going on out there. What are some of the challenges that you face as the mayor of a city of 55,000 people? I mean, is it the same challenges every community faces? Affordability, crime. What are some of the challenges that might be unique to your city?
So I will share that we had a period of time that it was really unfortunate and very sad, and to see where we had some pedestrian fatalities. And it goes back to the 2022, 2023. The goal is to have a vision zero, no accidents, no fatalities, especially critical ones. And we're focused on that. We've received a Safe Streets for All grant.
Okay.
That grant has allowed us to look at the community as a comprehensive approach to finding those areas of concern where there's high volumes of pedestrian crossings, congestion in traffic, maybe poor lighting, whatever the reason may be, and looking at street diets and creative ways to slow down traffic, but not always blame the driver. It's not always the driver's fault, because each one of those cases, God rest their souls, those who actually lost their lives, they have a story and they're all unique. But the goal is to create a community that is safe, and we're focused on that. With the Safe Streets for All grant, you also get an opportunity to implement a big one with that process. So we're excited about moving forward with it.
I know a lot of communities. I live in Westfield. Westfield has done this, and some of the other local communities reduce the speed in your central core district, for lack of a better description. Has Chicopee done that as well?
We have citywide. If it's not posted, it's 25 miles per hour.
Just like Westfield, yeah.
And I think that's a tremendous thing. Sometimes it feels a little slow because technology in these vehicles today, they ride so smooth.
I know.
I think, I've tried to explain that to my kids, that the vehicle is probably the most dangerous weapon out there in our community. And you have to pay attention at all times. I always commend our former state rep, Joe Wagner, for creating the hands-free law.
Oh, absolutely.
And taking those phones and devices out of your hands while you're driving. But
how many do you still see? How many people do you probably saw a few on your way here?
So, we're very fortunate to have a traffic bureau out there. We have overtime for enforcement through grants, and really looking at trying to find ways to keep this community safe when it comes from a pedestrian standpoint or a speeding standpoint. It's one of the biggest complaints I get, and we'll take it, is speeding. Right. So we've been focused on that and creating street diets because they work. Roundabouts seem to work.
Oh, yeah.
The big roundabout is coming at Montgomery, Kent Street, and Grattan Street. We're excited about
that. Will be a big one. That'll be a big project.
That's a big project.
What's the timeline on that?
That's coming up 2026, 2027. Right now, we're securing the layout. That's a compliance project through the state. Mass DOT will be paying for the project. So
good.
We're excited to implement that. It's going to be a solution. And to a really
dangerous intersection,
congested intersection.
But that, again, I've said it multiple times. It creates a better quality for the residents. If you're reducing pedestrian deaths, you're reducing car accidents, you're reducing crime, reducing speed limits to make traversing the city streets easier. It makes it a nicer place to live, which is why you guys rank number one on that national poll.
So we're grateful for that too. And I'll share that, one of the things we're focused on now is the new Berry Elementary School.
Okay.
We have 10 elementary schools. They're dated, and we're fortunate enough to win the lottery by getting into the MSBA program. And we're going to build a new Berry Elementary. And I really do think that is a key component to the success of your community, is to focus on your school district. And it's the bricks and mortar too. Right. The teachers are great. We have pay parity there, and teachers have a new contract. I'm excited about that. But it's also about the buildings and the space. And when you see a brand new modern elementary school, you want to bring one home to Chicopee. And that's what we're doing right now. So we have pretty new high schools. Middle schools are in great shape, but we're really focused now on our elementary schools and the education that we provide. So,
and some of the schools that have been the newer schools replacing the older schools, those older schools were older schools. Bringing modern, equipment for our students to use is crucial, because you want to prepare them for life.
These kids are our future, and
Absolutely.
we're investing in them. It's something that we take a lot of pride in here.
So speaking of kids, and we laugh, it's kind of a cliche, the children are the future, but they truly are. Does your office, or does the city of Chicopee, do you have like youth programs, to kind of get them more involved in the city?
So we have the Student Advisory Council through the school district that works with the school committee. I chair it.
Okay.
It's wonderful to see that group. I had mentioned the Junior Police Academy, getting kids engaged there. I actually am I always have coffee with the mayor with our older adults at the senior center every month. But the new program that I'm implementing this January is Pizza with the Mayor at the Chicopee Boys and Girls Club. Just trying to build these relationships with the younger adults in Chicopee and trying to see what their directions and plans are. I'm a product of the Boys and Girls Club and want people to know that, you being your best you is probably the most important advice I can give you, and really focusing on them and their self-esteem and how I can help them to be successful and understand their value, and know that building self-esteem and worth, I think, are really important components in letting them know that a less than fortunate kid from Willimantic can be mayor.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm one of them.
And it's important also to get their input, because, we as adults, we think we know what the younger generations want, but we might be way off base.
Well, my kids keep me informed, but I will say
two of them as well.
I will say that I'm looking forward to engaging with that group. Like, one of the things I really focus on too is getting into every school. So if you're ever in a bad mood and you want to read a story to the preschool, it will definitely brighten your day. It really will. And just getting into the school district, hearing their voices, what their concerns are, and what they want to see, is really a focal point for me that we're focused for this year.
Fantastic. Mayor, I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. The invitation to come back is open to you for any time. So hopefully we'll have you back here in the 22 News Plus studio here about other great things that are happening in the city of Chicopee.
Thank you,
Patrick.
for coming in. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.